All right. First of all, tell me if my mic's working because every time I start this, I'm not sure if it's actually working. So if you guys can hear me, let me know. If you can't, let me know. How is everyone's Friday? You guys doing anything fun? So we had Rado show up early, and then I think he thought he was an hour early, so I think he left. I hope Rado's here for the live. He always asks some very interesting questions. NVR, NDR just got his kink whip. He put it together, got super sore. So that's exciting. I remember when I first started out, like I'd go out ride for probably 2, 3, 4 hours, and right here, it's like this part of your arm just gets insanely sore, and then the part of your bicep, bro. Never ender. Okay. Good. Never ender. Mason Willis, what's up, man? Marcos Rosas. I think you're pretty. Marcos, are you new? Um, Welcome to the live, guys. So, as you guys just start, popping in your questions. One thing this whole last week, whenever I talk to people, I notice I say, a lot. Like I say, blah, 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 blah. And I think it's from these lives because I just try and fill all the dead space where I'm not saying anything with something. So I'm gonna try and stop that. I usually wear rubber bands on my wrist so I could snap myself to like break a bad habit. I don't have any right now. Otherwise, I'd snap myself every time I do that. So when I say you guys call me out in the chat so that I can be aware of it. Okay. Oh yeah, wait. I could say okay. That's fine. Marcos, you ride BMX in El Paso. I'm kind of a local legend. Shh, no, I'm not. Neverender is also from El Paso, so he just got his bike. I told him, Marcos, you too. Me and the boys, like we're gonna have a good group tomorrow. I'm not sure if we're gonna ride Diana or we're gonna ride Carolina. I kind of want to ride downtown, but wherever. I'll post on the community on YouTube so that you guys can see where we're at. You could come ride with us, Marcos and Neverender. It'd be sick. We'll grow the whole crew, get everyone out there riding bikes. For you guys, so this is a topic I want to talk about. I listed a few topics I want to cover while you guys kind of ask your questions. But this was something I know a lot of you guys are in the snowy area or the cold area. One guy's from probably, all right, Mason has to go. Bye, Mason. Good to see you for literally 2 minutes and 57 seconds. Oh, well. So one of the topics, ask your questions while I talk about this. But it was like for those guys who are riding that can't ride right now because it's winter. And I've talked about this before on some other lives that I lived in Montana for 4 years. And during the winter, I could almost never ride. So I got into snowboarding a little bit. I'm not very good at it. But this is something I wanted to talk about. Some alternatives for you guys who are just as much BMX content as you can right now because you're not really able to ride. There's two things I found. One, well, trampoline bikes. I don't know. That one's a little iffy. Like if you have a trampoline, that's cool. And some guys, I have a friend in France that does the craziest things on the trampoline bike. But have you guys heard about snow bikes? Have you seen anything like that? So this is something I want to buy and just go. There's a ski resort like 3 hours away. And I want to buy this and go test it out. But look, I'm gonna put the link for the snow bike that I just looked it up right before this live. It's super expensive. It's like $1,500, but it's it's kind of got a mountain bike design, but it's on skis. It's like a bike on skis. And these guys do flips on it. They do 360s on it. And I just thought this would be something cool to kind of talk about for a couple minutes for you guys who are in a snowy area that can't ride your bike right now. This gives you the option to still technically ride your bike, even though it's not a bike. I mean, whatever. So I want one of these so bad to try it out. I feel like it'd be really hard trying to carve with the skis, but I don't know. I can't ski either. I can barely snowboard, like I said. Dude, this hair is bugging me. It's weird. During these lives, I just stare at myself for an hour and I hate it. Um, Okay, wait. Kaden says that one's full suspension. Is there a BMX version? Yes, but I can't find it on Amazon. There's a BMX. They make conversion kits. Here, let's look. BMX snow bike. I think it's absolutely insane how expensive they are. And maybe you can only get custom ones. Like these are some that people just got skis and put on their BMX bike. This guy put zip ties all around his bike tire. Here, let me find one. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we're stuck with full suspension if we want to not have to create our own. This guy, this just looks so fun. But some of them, so that one that I shared has 2 skis in the back, and some of them have 1 ski in the back. And I think that'd be really hard to balance. But I just wanted to talk about that for like 5 minutes for you guys who can't ride your bike right now. Every time I go out, like I don't know if you could tell, I have like this tan line. I get sunburned. The last 2 weekends I've gone out and ride, I've gotten sunburned because I'm lucky enough to be right by Mexico, so we have perfect weather right now. And God, I'm so happy that I can ride my bike. But yeah, so for you guys not be able to, the other one's a trampoline bike. The best way to do this is either get your old bike, if you have one, or get your bike, take your wheels off, and get like a deflated soccer ball or basketball, stuff it in the forks, and then duct tape around it so it's all connected. And the ball part is what's going to help you bounce on the trampoline. You do the same thing where the back wheel goes. Tape it up, leave it like that, and then you can either take your cranks off so you don't have any cranks there, or you can leave the cranks on, but put like duct tape around the pedals because the pedals are going to cut up your trampoline. But if your skate park's covered with snow and you can get outside and ride your trampoline, then you can do some trampoline bike tricks, practice bar spins, tail ups, all that stuff. So those are some tips for you. I'm going to scroll through here and see if there's any questions. One thing I also want to do in this live real quick is I want to do a mini contest. So all of you guys that are on there, my Instagram is Dougster Bob. Okay, it's right here, Dougster Bob. Send me or tag me in a clip of you riding or a picture of you doing a trick, something like that. And I'm going to look through them. If enough people do this, tag me in it. And then I'll just pull this off the whiteboard, a sticker sheet, and I'll mail it to you. Whoever's trick I like the most. So during this live, I'm going to keep reminding you, but tag me and stuff at Dougster Bob on like your favorite riding video, but only one or two. That's it. Okay. I'm going to read through these comments and see if I missed anything. Rado said he forgot. Grant, what's up, Grant? Glad you're here, man. We got Mason. Jeff. Hey, Jeff. Guys, Jeff sent me a finger bike a couple weeks ago, so now we have this. If you guys ask any trick questions, look, I can show you bar spins and tail whips. And so, yeah, thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. I have to plug Jeff every time he's in the live. Black 187187. I hope I get my dirt jump bike sold fast and get my BMX. Why don't you do both? Why can't you do BMX and mountain bike? I was just working on a thing with a really good mountain bike rider that we're making for BMX riders and mountain bikers. I've never ridden mountain bike, but I want to. I think since I'm so much taller, I would have a lot of fun on a full suspension or a hardtail. I want a hardtail. That's what I want. Big dirt jumps look really fun, but honestly, I'm kind of scared. Isaac Conrad is here saying, what's up from Alabama? Isaac, welcome to the live. Thanks for hanging out, man. Grant just had to get new cranks for his devotion. Oh, Grant, tell me what happened to your cranks in there. The devotion should be like, you shouldn't have any issues with it very often. There's another topic I'm going to talk about, which is why I asked the question on the live, on the community part. I'll talk about that in a little bit. I want to read through some of these questions first, but it's about all of the BMX shops and whether or not Dance Comp is going to kick Source out of the USA and establish that dominance that they used to have a few years ago. When I was starting out, Dance Comp was the only thing to buy from. I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars from them, but they kind of went down the tubes when they sold. So they're doing a lot of big things, and there's specific things I want to talk about with Source and Dance. So I'll talk about that in a minute. All right, Marco says, do I ever ride mountain bike? No, I already said I do not. I wish I did, but I do not yet. Is there even any mountain bike stuff in El Paso, Marcos? Mazaki says, is hookworm tires good for BMX? What is it specialized for? I have no idea what hookworm is, but I am about to find out. Hold on. Anyone else heard of hookworm? Look, I look up hookworm, it says symptoms. I think they mean heartworm. Maybe hookworm's a thing too. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, hookworm tires. Oh, Maxxis. Okay. Do they even come in a 20-inch? They look more like I'd say they're more street type tires, but they're also really smooth, so they would work okay on park if grip isn't your main factor. Your main deciding factor on it. So there's kind of two different. I like my tires with a fair amount of knob, but very smooth. So that's why I ride the Momentums. They're super smooth, but there's enough grip there. Some really park specific tires are just really, really, really smooth. And the smoothness gives you zero rolling resistance. So if you guys put on really knobby tires and you roll around on the street, you're going to notice that those tires really slow you down. So some park riders are going to go with absolutely almost virtually no knobs so that it's really quick. Their speed stays there. But slippery skate parks suck. So if you don't have a little bit of grip on there, you're going to get trashed. So you have to, I don't know, you have to figure out what feels right for you. These look like really smooth park tires with not very much grip. So I would definitely stick to the streets on the hookworm tires. Mazaki. I think I said your name right. All right. Yo, we're already at 10 likes. We just started. What's going on with you guys? Jeff says, I'm in Boston in the snow. Best thing to do during the winter is to get stronger. Do a set of squats and push-ups in between rounds of Call of Duty. So some agility stuff if you can. Yeah, that's Jeff. That's a really good point. And that's something I've spent a lot of time this winter. So right now I'm only riding once, maybe twice a week because I've got a lot of projects. Like you can see on my whiteboards, I've got a lot of projects going on with the Dougster Bob brand and everything. But then I also 4 years ago, I was in a really good place with riding because of exercise habits. So we would go to the skate park. Barrick and I were just talking about this. We would go to the skate park, ride for about 2 to 3 hours. The park would close at 11. We'd go from there to Planet Fitness, and we'd work out until like, I don't know, 1 or 2 in the morning, then go get some food, and then go home and like restart the day. And those, like, it was crazy. I was in the best shape of my life. And because of that, riding was so much easier. So I'm really putting a focus on exercise right now, 5 times a week, and then riding 1 or 2 times a week, and then working on this and my real job all the other time. Because if your whole body's fit, your bike is going to be a lot easier to control and a lot easier to learn tricks on. But more importantly, you're not going to get hurt as often. And that's something I'm going to write a whole ebook on it about how, one, the mental thing that helps you actually learn tricks and progress, but the physical aspect of it and why when you fall, whatever you fall on is trying to protect yourself, but it engages all these other muscles. And if they can't protect you, then you get hurt. So long story, we're not going to talk about all that in the live, but good point, Jeff. Somebody said something about a Subaru. If snowing, buy a Subaru Forest. Rado, always in the BMX chat with car stuff. Thanks, Rado. Caden says he does not have an Insta. I don't think anyone's tagged me in anything yet, Caden, so don't worry. Nothing. They just like my video. That's cool. Let's see. Oh, wait, there's 2 Marcos. That's what's going on. I got confused. Marco says, I had to get a new back wheel for the devotion after like 3 months, but now it's dialed. That's good. It's really crazy to me how the thing I'm going to talk about is about a Kink, the Williams bike, the Kink Williams. The Free Coaster went out after like a month, and that's like the guy says, it's their flagship model. That should not happen at all. But sometimes stuff does happen with different companies. And like I always stress, guys, first of all, they should. I'm going to assume they want you to be happy, because if you get a bike, it breaks really quick and it's their fault, you're not going to be happy about it. You're going to kind of hate the brand. You're not going to recommend it to your friends. So the best thing to do is just reach out, talk to support and say, hey, this is what's going on. And chances are they might do something to work with you. Like in your example, Marco, they could have sent you a new back wheel or a replacement part for it or something like that. I don't know if they would or not, but generally you don't know if you don't ask. So it's a really good, BMX relies on positive word of mouth. So I always tell people, if you guys have any issues with your bikes, then just reach out. Now, granted, those cheaper bikes, people say they'll last you up to 2 years. And I think if you're lucky, like a $350 bike, you're going to get maybe a year out of it, because you're able to progress so much faster than people were back in like early 2000s. It's just a whole different game right now. So yeah, anyway, keep that in mind. The mid-level bikes, though, should last you 1 to 2 years if you're riding at a mid-level. And the Devotion's a mid-level, so I don't think that should have happened, Marco. That sounds very frustrating. Wow. So BLVCK bought a full suspension for $3K. That's why he can't keep his dirt jumper, and he wants to try something else. Dude, you're going to love BMX because it's just so much easier to control and snap tricks around on, but going off big jumps is really scary. Look, I see you guys talking about the hookworm. I want to stay up on the chat, so I might skip over a bunch of different things and just kind of pick through the questions I want to answer, because I feel bad when I'm reading way up here and then the new comments are coming in here, because then people think I'm ignoring them. So I'm going to try and stay up, but I love you guys for asking all these questions, making these live popping. I always talk about the first one I did. I found questions from different comments and everything like that to pretend like people were actually asking me them live. And it popped off the second one, and I don't have to do that anymore. So it's really cool to see how this is growing. You guys are dope. Rado says, Dougster Bob, go to my YouTube channel. There is my Bethley. The video is 10 seconds. Want to know what you think about the 2020 version. Okay, Rado, go copy the link to that video and post it in the chat. And then I will click on the link, and then everyone in the chat can click on the link and check it out. And we can talk about the Bethley flip. Yo, Aiden's over here. What's up, Aiden? I just saw Aaron Laird. We have the same last name, but I don't think we're related. I think he's in Scotland. Is that right? Aaron, you're in Scotland? It's Mike Laird, Douglas Laird, Aaron Laird. There's all these Lairds, but we're not related. It's wild. I was in Scotland once, and they told me I have a very Scottish last name. So that's cool. Aiden is in class. Aiden, I hope you're paying attention. You're probably in history. Aiden's always in history at this time of day. Yeah, so Isaac said Aiden, Doug's having a contest. Guys, all you have to do is go to my business Instagram, go to Dougster Bob. You can't really see it, but anyway, Dougster Bob, and just tag me in a video of you doing a trick or a line or whatever BMX related. Tag me in it, and at the end of the live, I'm going to go through and pick my favorite, and then I'll pull this right off the whiteboard. It's a sticker sheet, and then I'll pull it and I'll mail it to you. So tag me in those on Instagram so that I can pick a winner. Okay. Never Ender had to go to work. Thank you for hanging out for like 19 minutes. Solid. Jose Enriquez says, sup, Doug? Jose, what's up, man? Welcome to the live. If you hang out here more often, you can have a little blue wrench next to your name like everyone else. The people with the blue wrenches are people who are like always on the lives, always on the premieres, and they're just super cool people. So all you have to do is hang out in a couple lives and then ask for it, and I'll say, if I recognize your name, you'll probably get a wrench. So anyway, okay, Isaac explained the little contest. Prithriv, what's up, man? You've been here a couple times. He says, I hear a rubbing sound coming from my Odyssey Clutch V2 hub. Any idea what it might be? I have no idea. So the biggest thing would check two things, okay? That your wheel is not going like this when it spins. So if you spin it and it's going like this, chances are your tires catching the side of the frame. So like this, if your wheel's doing a little wobble like this, it's going to be rubbing on the frame. The other thing is, even if you spin it and look at it and it's moving, but you don't see it rubbing, when you pedal, it puts extra torque, especially on the drive side. Can you guys see that? When you pedal, it pulls the wheel that direction, especially if it's a little loose or something like that. So even if you just spin it and you don't see it rubbing, but it's moving, chances are it's doing that when you pedal, and that's because it's pulling it a little more. So check that. If that's not it and it's internal, I have no idea. Free coasters get really confusing. Odyssey, though, is great. You could reach out to them. Like I mentioned before, reach out. But Odyssey, my friend just got like a whole new Odyssey just sent him a whole bunch of internals for his clutch because it was kind of grinding. So they just sent him all new bearings, everything like that, to fix it for free, which is crazy. They have amazing customer service. So Prithvi, just reach out to them, and I'm sure they'll get you taken care of. Aiden's eating gummy bears. Awesome. Houston McPherson says, where can I pick up some ankle braces? A lot of places are sold out. Ooh, that is a good question. So in the next 2 years, it's in my plan to sell knee pads, shin guards, and ankle braces, like custom make them so they're actually really good. Fuse is absolutely amazing. So I'd honestly piggyback off of Fuse, just improve it a little bit better. But we don't have any of that yet, so you can't buy any from me. But the Space Brace is the best. But I'm going to tell you guys a little secret. I don't know. The Space Brace 1.0, their first version, was really hyped up. It's good, obviously. It protects your ankles, but it's like way overpriced. I'm trying to think of where I got mine. So I can almost guarantee what they did is they just outsourced it from a company overseas that already makes braces for a different sport. And the reason I say this is because I got an ankle brace from Big Five for $8, exactly the same. Now the Space Brace 2.0 is a lot better with that quick release strap and things like that. Oh, never mind. This one's like $30. This is the one I got. I got a good deal. I'm going to send this. This is on big5.com, and I'm sure it's in stock. It is in stock. It's a lot like the Space Brace 1.0. However, it is not like the Space Brace 2.0. So here, I just put that link to the brace that I ride. I only ride one brace. One thing to touch on about braces is that our bodies build muscle based on strain, okay? So hold on, I need to write this down. Oh, sorry. It's going to be good, whatever I'm about to talk about, I promise. Okay, so our bodies build muscle based on strain. So when you sprain your ankle, it's from, obviously, it gets tweaked too much, so it pulls those muscles. Now, once it heals, that's good, but you need to keep building the strength on it. And if you constantly ride with an ankle brace, even though your ankle's not hurt, as a preventative measure, I don't agree with that because it makes your ankle weaker overall. So if you ride with an ankle brace for 2 years just because you don't want to hurt your ankle, then you forget it one day, you ride without it, your ankle's 100 times more likely to sprain or get hurt just because of that. So it's a lot. It's just something to keep in mind. I only ride with one when I sprain my ankle and I need that extra support because riding hurts it. Now, when my ankle's healed up or pretty much healed up, I will ride without it so that I can build those muscles back up that keep it secure, keep it in place, and everything like that. So Houston, that is the ankle brace link, but be careful. Don't rely on it. Just use it to help you get better, but don't rely on it, okay? BMX Bandit says, Doug is the best kid from Instagram who asked about bunny hop. Should I get 8-inch? rise or 9-inch? Because I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about right now. But get 9-inch. I don't even know how tall you are. 9-inch is definitely a better option just because it's kind of the new medium. So the extreme tall is 11s. You're crazy if you ride 11s, unless you're 6'6" or 6'4". Then 10s are really tall. 9 is kind of right there in the middle, and 8s are really low. I just think 9's perfect. There's some other things you can do to tweak the height, like a top load stem versus a front load stem and things like that. But I think 9's a good choice, BMX Bandit. Go with that. All right, Aiden. Good. Aiden, this was in my notes to talk about later. Aiden commented on a video. He said, Doug, give me tips on how to foot plant. My friend was doing it, and I was super jealous. The only big tip here, Aiden, is which foot are you foot planting with? Now, if you look, chances are your friend's foot planting with a different foot, and that's why it's a lot easier for him. I have a guy I used to ride with that foot plants with his back foot, and I foot plant with my front foot. So for him, different foot plant variations were easier for him than they were for me. So keep that in mind when you're starting to do foot jams. Figure out which one you would rather do. But if it's not working out with one foot, try it with the other foot. The biggest foot off, but to do it smoothly, you're kind of hopping. So you hop to get both tires of the bike off the ground, and then the thing just said my connection's unstable. On my screen, I don't look too blurry, but when I watch back the live, it's super blurry. One day we'll have solid internet and you guys will get a good live. But anyway, and then just pop your leg down and plant, and then pop up with your leg to get extra. But you really just have to work on it. And I think it's best on a bank. So if you go up to a bank, hop, foot plant, and then hop back. That's a really good way to practice it. A quarter, you can hop up, foot plant on the top of the quarter, and go back in. There's just little ways to kind of work up into it. Oh, Aaron Laird is in England. I said Scotland. My bad. Guys, if I like to date with you guys, but I want to see what Lucas said. Oh, Lucas says, what's up, Lucas? Glad you're here. My new frame is coming today. Which did you go with the Fuego 7? Because it's in my list to talk about. Lucas said, what do you think of the Fly Fuego 7 frame? It's on sale for $270 in the perfect geometry for me. Should I get it? And I hope you got it, because Lucas, it's a really good frame. I did a review about it, and it's really strong. It's really responsive. It's got a steep head tube. It's got a short geometry. The only main thing with it is it's a little bit heavy, but that's because it's super strong. Like it's 5 pounds in the 21-inch. So Matt says, hey guys, what's up, Matt? Thanks for coming to the live. I think I just replied to your email earlier this morning, and then you said, I'm excited for the live. So good. Glad you're here, man. Ask away. Ask those questions, guys. Oh, Lucas said he's not telling, and then I just told everyone, Lucas. My bad. Maybe it's not that frame, guys. Maybe it's not. Whoops, I just spoiled the alert. Lucas, I'm going to be the first person to like your video. So Amory Swisherzhinsky says, just got my Sunday Primer Park. I like it a lot. There's a guy here in El Paso that rides the Primer Park, and he has a foam pit at his house. I think it's his. John? I don't know. Maybe it's not his. Maybe it's his friend's. But he got that bike because he wanted to do tricks like bar spins and stuff like that. And this guy's progressed super fast on it. I don't know. It's a little overpriced, but then again, it is one of the best beginner level park specific bikes you can get. So the color is really cool too. I like the color. It's a pretty good bike. Houston says, I got 4 plates installed in my ankle in September. Very expensive. Oh my God. Yeah. That sounds painful too. Ben Curley says, what do you think about the We the People reason? Ben, I'm going to look it up real quick because I can't remember off the top of my head. But I'm editing all of the We the People videos right now. Oh, wait. I already finished the Reason review. Here, Ben. Someone tell Ben where to watch the We the People Reason video. Hold on. I'll just find it. I always feel so awkward when I'm not saying anything because I know there's like 20 people staring at me and not talking. Okay, anyway. Lucas says his friend got a We the People Trust for $70. That's crazy. I always talk about if you guys are looking for used bikes. Lucas, I think, is one. There's one other guy too that's got so many different good deals from Facebook Marketplace. So Jay Mountain Bike says, "Is it worth buying a used BMX?" And I definitely think it depends. So I talked about this on the last live, but guys, just triple check that the person selling the bike is selling it because they don't like to ride anymore or whatever, and not because the bike is about to break. So double check all the welds. So like right here, double check that to make sure there's no cracks there. Double check here and here and here, and just check the frame for no cracks, because if they want to get, maybe they crack their bike and they think it's going to break soon, so they're just trying to sell it so they can buy a new bike real quick. Don't get taken advantage of. Double check. I know bikes are really expensive to ship, so if there's someone in your area that has a good deal on one, chances are it's a good deal. If it's something really far away, then you probably won't really get it because it's, like I said, it's really expensive to ship. Now in the UK, they have a lot bigger of a used market because they're a lot closer together. So in the US, the used market is really slacking. Now, also, there's a handful of shops around the world that buy and sell used bikes. So I ran into one in England, and they just buy bikes. So if you want to sell your BMX bike, they'll buy it, they'll fix it up, and then they'll sell it. So there might be a place near you that does that, and then you could get a really good deal on a bike. So look into that, J Mountain Bike, and yeah. Houston McPherson says, "Is Woodward worth going to?" Um, that's up to you. I'll tell you a little story about Woodward. I've been a handful of times, but the first time I was with my grandparents, we were going on a road trip. I was in high school. We were going on a road trip to Maryland to see family. So we went from New Mexico to Maryland. We're driving, and we stopped at like every single skate park. My grandparents have always been so supportive of me. Anytime I wanted to ride, they take me to ride. My grandpa taught me bar spin somehow. It blows my mind. So anyway, we were an hour away from Woodward, and my grandpa said, "Hey, do you want to just go check it out?" Camp started the day before, I think, so I was a day late, but we just wanted to check it out, and I just wanted to see it. It had always been a dream of mine to go. So we ended up going over there, and we showed up. We said, "Hey, can we kind of get a tour? Can we look around?" And the lady took us around in the golf cart, showed us all the parks and everything, and he said, "Well, do you want to stay?" And I said, "Well, of course." So they let me. He paid for me to stay there for the week. And it was the best experience. I think I was 14 or 15. And I was in the older cabin with a handful of guys that, like, we still kind of keep in contact here and there. Reed Boggs, I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of Reed Boggs. He was in my cabin. He was on a 20-inch BMX bike back in the day. And now he's on a downhill, and guy absolutely kills it. Just blew up. He was really talented back then. Reed was a dish dog. So, and then I had, who else? There's some, I think their names are Bradley, Ian and Zane Bradley. They rode stunt shows. They were really good. But the point of the story is, while I was there, I did not learn backflips, even though I wanted to. I was too scared. Everyone in my cabin, every single person learned flips. There's like 5 guys who could barely bar spin, learned backflips. That last day at camp, they all said, "We're going to do this." Got to the foam pit, sent it, took it to Resi, sent it, and I was amazed, because you can't do that. You can't go to your skate park for a week and then learn backflips. You can't. Like, that's a Woodward thing. And it's the biggest thing that they had going back in the day was that there wasn't many world-class skate parks like there is at Woodward. Now that's changed. There's world-class skate parks everywhere. But what Woodward has that the skate parks don't have is the good vibes. You're around people who love BMX, who want to progress, and you guys just get together and you all push each other. You feed off that energy, you progress together, you set different things that you want to learn, and then you guys all crush it. And that's something that you're not really going to find anywhere else. If you guys are super lucky, you have a small group of friends that you ride with, but you're not immersing yourself around people who are better than you. Your friend group is generally going to be your same skill level, so you're going to have a harder time getting better because you're not around people better than you. So that was Woodward for me. I learned I think tuck no hander to bar spin was my favorite thing from there. 3 whips. I learned a ton at camp, and it's a game changer for me because before I went to Woodward and after it was the amount of tricks I had afterwards was just so different. So it is worth it. That was a really long answer, but it's a good story. I'm sure you guys like the story. So yeah, Houston, I think it is for sure. I don't know how old you are, but you could go work. So if you're older, you're a parent, you could be a camp dad, and you get to stay for free. Your kid gets to stay for free. All you have to do is drive kids to the hospital if they get hurt, or pick up kids on the weekends to take them to camp. You could be a dish dog if you're a younger guy, where you just do dishes for them, like breakfast and lunch, and then you get the rest of the time to ride. And they also have scholarships. So just Google Woodward scholarships. Not many people apply for the scholarship, so there's a high chance you get a scholarship. So, okay. Jeff, any more thoughts on the podcast? No, Jeff, I haven't even looked at your message yet, but I'm going to after this, I promise. I've just been thinking about it because I know I'd have to plan it out so much. I'd have to figure out, I don't know. I think all I do is, one, I'd want to interview people, and I don't like asking people for things. So I'd have a hard time like just calling up and say, hey, like, let's do a podcast. And especially if I don't know what I'm doing yet. And then I'd just make a list and just talk about things. I'd probably set aside an hour. I could do it on Fridays when I do the lives, actually, is film the podcast. But I'm trying to figure it out still and think about some good topics. I would love to do it more so. I might be moving. So once I figure that out, I'll be able to settle down and have a better game plan. But for now, there's about 2 more months where I'm going really hard on a project that I will blast to you guys very soon. And once we finish that project, then I'll have some more time set aside to work on something else, maybe podcast. I'm not sure yet. Oh, we got some people tagging me over here on Instagram. That's exciting. All right, what else? All right, I'm gonna read through these comments. Caden said, guys, Caden says BMX school. That's the answer. It's coming very soon, but it's gonna be bike school now. So it's gonna include mountain bike and BMX. And we just finished the trailer, and I cannot show you guys yet, but the trailer is amazing. We have some video. We have a good amount of videos finished, outlined. I'm so hyped on it because it's almost done. But you guys will know soon. If you guys are on the email list, I'm about to send an email right now that updates you on where we're at right now. If you are not, you are missing out. Oh, Mason, thoughts on Brad Sims leaving Fit Bike Co. This is something I like to talk about because I idolized Brad Sims. I think Brad is one of the best BMX riders in right now, but not necessarily just his riding. The way his attitude about everything to me is really interesting because it's more so like he takes what he wants, right? He wants something, he's going to get it. Where some people just kind of wait around for something to happen. Brad makes it happen. I was talking to Julian about this in El Paso, and he was telling me that Brad's like a nomad. So he doesn't really live in one place. He just kind of just travels and lives in different places and just rides his bike. And that to me is really fascinating. But the whole fit thing, so from Fit deleted their post about it. I screenshotted it because I love the BMX drama. But their thing was that Brad asked them on like Christmas, said, "Hey, I want my salary doubled." And they were like, "Whoa, we can't do that." So then he ghosted them. He didn't reply to them at all. And so they're like, after many attempts to contact Brad, we're just going to assume he's moved on to different things. So he's no longer on the team. So it's kind of like he didn't necessarily leave. They kind of kicked him off, but they kicked him off because he was ghosting them. I don't know. I'm sure there's a contract in there, but I think the BMX industry now, I'm 24, and I'm not super educated on everything BMX economy, BMX industry. But from what I see, the world is changing, especially with COVID, right? Any business who did not have an online presence is really struggling right now if they're still alive. So, in my opinion, the BMX industry, the brands have done really good with that online presence. But guys, think about it. How many shops do you know like that come to mind when you think about ordering online? Not many. You think about maybe a local, you think about Dance Comp, you think about Albies, Source has done absolutely amazing with that, but that's it. So, and that's because BMX is really anti like mainstream. So if you sign up as a dealer to sell bikes, they prohibit you from selling on Amazon. But anything else in the world is allowed to sell on Amazon or sold on Amazon. And this keeps it exclusive, but it really limits growth. So I'm going to assume that Brad's salary was $600 a month because that seems to be like what most pro riders get with a company that's not Red Bull, not Monster, not something super high up. So to expect, let's say Brad only had that sponsor to live off of 600 a month, risk his life potentially. I don't like when people say that, but that's the whole idea behind it. To ride his bike and promote content for Fit, that's not very much money at all. So rightfully, he should be able to ask for double that, even though he's not going to get it. But the problem isn't Brad asking for more money, and the problem's not Fit not having enough money to pay him. The problem's that the exclusivity that we put on BMX to prevent people from getting into it at a reasonable price at really accessible, like you should be able to buy a bike off Amazon, a good bike that's mainstream BMX for a couple $100, figure out if you like the sport or not, and then progress to something else. But it's blacklisted essentially, so it's really hard to grow the sport. Look at how many kids ride skateboards because they're cheaper, they're accessible, and it's just a huge culture thing where we're all kind of weird. So I don't know. Brad is going to go do great things. He's going to get pushed out of BMX just like Nigel Sylvester, just like Adam LZ, just like anyone who has gone in BMX, created a really strong personal brand, and been successful without mainstream bike companies. They get pushed out. They get bashed. Adam 22 is a really good example. Created his podcast, created all this, and then people just hated him. So he said, well, I don't need this. So then he left. Like, that's what happens to everyone. And I think Brad's on the exact same path, despite being a really good bike rider. BMX is weird. And I think it's just he's going to go on Adidas. He's going to do magazine stuff and just, so yeah, that was a really big rant. But that's exciting to talk about. I'm curious to see what's going to happen. I'm going to drink some water. Okay, there's a good question from Prithvi about what size pegs do you recommend? I have 4-inch Odyssey M pegs. Guys, comment what size pegs you guys ride because I don't know. I have no idea what size my pegs are, and I just the pegs I recommend are the cheapest pieces of metal that'll go on your bike and do some grinds. To me, width doesn't really matter that much. And the amount of weight you're going to save on a shorter peg isn't going to matter that much. So just get some pegs and then start grinding. I don't think that's something you should really overthink very much. Marco J says, do you think the Sunday X is a good bike for dirt and for street? Depends. So the Sunday X, Ortega version is 21, but it's got 4-piece, and I don't think it has a free. I don't think it has a free coaster. I think the Eric Elstrand version has a free coaster, but I don't think that a bike with a free coaster is a good choice on dirt, because if you're in between trails and you go to pedal, you have all that slack. So you pedal, nothing's going to engage, and you can't get a full half crank or a full crank to clear the jump. So I don't recommend riding dirt on anything with a free coaster. For street, the Sunday X is a really good choice for sure. Street and dirt's kind of weird because the things that you would add on to each bike to kind of make it specific for one or the other are polar opposites. Whereas like street and park go together pretty good, and park and dirt go together pretty good, but street and dirt kind of don't. I'm trying to think of a really good option for you there, just off the top of my head. Actually, I'd say the Devotion's a really good choice because it's got that big, longer geometry. So like the chainstay is 13.6. It's really long. So it's a really stable bike, which is important on street. It doesn't have a free coaster, and it comes with pegs. So that's a good choice. Look at the Devotion, Marco. Black 187 ordered some pizza. Isaac's internet died because of a snowstorm. Aaron knows his bike's slightly bent, but that's what to check for. Yeah, Isaac or Black, you should order all of us pizza. I agree. Rado said something about 360 tail whips, but I did not see it, Rado, so say it again. Dan the man, what's up, Dan? I missed that because I missed Dan saying what's up because I was gone. There's 20 people and 20 likes right now. That's cool. There's Mason says make a series called Storytime with Doug. Now that's a podcast idea. Let's hold on. Got to write it down. I have like little notes stuck to my desktop. I'm gonna hold on. I wanted to do posts about that, like Storytime posts, but I don't think they're as fun to read. Like hearing me talk about them would be really fun. There's one time I ran out of money traveling, and oh yeah, that'd be good. Good idea, Mason. All right, I'm just reading through looking for some comments and some questions to answer. Where in Canada do you live? Oh, I don't live. Aiden says Brad Sims is not human. My friend sent me a post from Brad Sims. It was where he grinded that rail and then over 270. And he said, where does all that pop come from? And I said, Brad Sims is the pop. Like Brad Sims doesn't pop. He is the pop. Like pop. It doesn't make sense to me. That guy is strong. When you talk about strength and strength training in the gym and BMX, like Brad is the epitome of that. Brad is cool, but he shouldn't have asked for so much money from Fit. Interesting, Aiden. Spencer Forsman lives in a custom van, drives around the country hitting parks. Yeah, Matt, that is my goal in life too. I think, doesn't that sound fun, guys? You have a van, and then you can go. You're like, oh, I want to ride in Kansas today. You drive to Kansas, you ride your bike, you sleep in your van. You're like, oh, I want to go to California. That'd be a long drive, but anyway. Bogdan says, hey, you are my idol. Oh, dude, what's up? I appreciate that. Thank you so much. You guys are so nice. Whoa. So I just pinned that comment. Now I can pin the comments that I'm answering. This is good. This is a game changer. Okay. Rado says, Dougster Bob is my BMX freestyle, the Mafia Kush 2 2018. Rado, I don't know what you mean. Jared says, I go to the Wheel Mill. They have a shop and a park. I love supporting local business. Pittsburgh all the way. And Jared says, I've heard 800, and I think he's talking about a BMX rider's salary, which that's probably closer, Jared. Yeah, six or eight. But it's crazy. For me, I'd be stoked on 800 a month to ride my bike. But imagine those guys like Logan Martin, where you have a family, you have kids, like that, you couldn't do that, you know? Oh, I said, I'm trying to not say it. All right. Bogdan says, all right, I'm going to try this. Pin. The Haros BMXs are good. I'm just gonna generally say no. I think they're really pushing for making wheelie bikes, if I'm not mistaken, and they have some high end, like the Chad Curley model is pretty good, but just generally not that great. Same thing with SE. SE has a couple really good bikes, but not so much mainstream. Um, Courage Adams, you guys, Courage Adams is crazy. I'm trying to think of somebody that had a really oddball spot. I have a friend from Mexico that just got sponsored by C4. You guys know the energy drink or the pre-workout, the C4. He just got sponsored by them, and I thought that's kind of interesting. So Matt says, did it let me pin it? I'd be kind of surprised if Brad Sims doesn't get picked up by Sunday or We the People or something. I think he's going to do really good with Adidas, and somebody is going to piggyback off of that. But Matt, one thing, keep this in mind, guys. You guys remember what happened with LZ? LZ built up a huge brand, a huge following. He did really good kind of on his own, and then Stranger picked him up just to piggyback off of that following, and Stranger was hated for it. Stranger lost a lot of their pro riders because they felt disrespected that Adam LZ didn't earn the spot, so they left. And now the Brad Sims example wouldn't be exactly the same, but it would kind of be similar in the sense that the companies all kind of have mutual agreements, except We the People. Everyone's hating We the People right now for stealing ideas, but they all kind of work together and not bash each other so much. And that's really cool. So if somebody picked up Brad Sims after whatever he did to Fit, if they're hurt by the situation, they're going to feel hurt by the company that picks up Brad Sims and decides to support him rather than support Fit and like what, that whole situation. I do think he's going to get on a company for sure. And if they can figure out how to work with him, it's going to be great. But one thing I've heard a lot about Brad Sims is that he just does his own thing. So if a company says, hey, man, we're working on this promo, can you send me some videos that you don't post on Instagram? He's going to say, no, I'm going to post it on Instagram if I want to. And so that kind of attitude is really hard to work with, especially when you're running a business. I don't know what's going to happen, man. I think Brad could very well build his own thing, but he seems kind of awkward and really like closed off. He doesn't seem like a real outgoing person. Pierce says, what would you, hold on. I'm going to pin it. We're going to practice this. This is cool. All right. What would you recommend as a first BMX bikes for an experienced bike rider, but new to BMX? So Pierce, the way I'm taking that is that you have bike control, which is the main thing that I stress for people to get on a bike is just get comfortable on the bike, get bike control, and then worry about progressing and learning new tricks. So if you already have the bike control, I would say you don't know any tricks, but you have the control. I would say to definitely go with something mid-level or high level. So if you get a beginner level bike, the biggest thing with those bikes is they're weak, high tensile steel, and they will not last as you start to learn new tricks, but they're really good for getting on your bike and for riding and just figuring out what BMX is and everything like that. If you're already past that stage, you're ready to learn tricks, you need a mid-level bike with full chromoly so that you can start to learn those tricks and so they don't break. Here, I'm going to send this to you. No. Just go here, Pierce, and fill out this form, and I'll take a look at the information you put in, and then I will send you a recommendation, but give me like a day or two. Yeah, so fill out that link, Pierce, and we will see. Aiden says Panza is super good, but also inappropriate. I've watched maybe 2 or 3 of his videos. I've been watching more of Grayson Roberts because his whole thing fascinates me. And one, I think he's done mad respect to him. He's built up a really good community and everything. And so it's really interesting. I watch him to see what he's doing, but I hate his attitude and just like his persona. But he's done really good. He's doing great. I respect the hustle. Uh, but yeah, Grayson's probably the only BMX rider I watch. And that's interesting because there's so much good BMX rider content out there. Would you guys, if I started vlogging, would you guys watch that or no? I feel like vlogging is really cringy and awkward, but I live a pretty interesting life, and I think you guys would enjoy the videos. But would you guys actually watch it? Let me know because I'm curious about that. Jared says, "Oh, I'm gonna pin it. Hold on. I like doing this. This is nice." Brad doesn't have a YouTube platform. He does, but there's not really like a lot of subs. You don't get paid from Instagram by having followers, so he doesn't have a ton of money. That's a really good point, Jared. One thing I don't understand this. I talk to a lot of my friends about it because they're like, oh, everyone's like, follow me on Instagram. Like I want Instagram followers, blah blah blah. But why? It does to me. It doesn't make sense. I think it's because all of our friends are on there, and that's about it. But as for promotion and stuff, Instagram is the most limited ever. Like you can't post a post and then post a link, say, hey, go buy my product or go follow my YouTube. You can only do that in your profile. And to be real, nobody's going to go to your profile to click on your link to watch your video. Nobody cares that much. It's Instagram is not set up for people to profit off of it. It's set up to profit off of you. I made a mistake not doing YouTube for the last couple of years because I said YouTube's going to die off. And while here we are, I was very wrong and I'm very late to the party, but live and learn, right? Yeah, so Brad going off of just Instagram is, in my opinion, a mistake on his part because he could capitalize on his talent and everything by going off of going to a different platform. From YouTube, he could push people to Instagram, but from Instagram, he can't push people to YouTube. So that's a good point. Good point, Jared. Rado says, "How would you know? Oh, how would you know if your rear hub is unsealed?" Rado, I always have to say, I I'm impressed by what language do you speak normally? You're from Malaysia, right? Like the fact that you know two languages is very impressive to me. So, I can 99% of the time understand what you're saying. So that's awesome, man. Keep up the good work, and thanks for always hanging out with me. Okay, how would you know if your rear hub is unsealed? Um, I mean, the only real way to tell is you can look in there and there might be a spacing. And if you see like a silver ball, it's unsealed. But the only real way is to take it apart and unscrew I think it's called a lock nut, unscrew the lock nut off the axle and then pull out the spacer or pull out the driver. And you can see if it's sealed or not. If it's unsealed and you pull it out, bearings are going to go everywhere and you're going to have to buy a new driver. If it's sealed, nothing will happen. So just Google it. I think is probably the best way. Caden says, I snapped my first high tensile steel frame. Caden, how long did it last you? Let me know. Okay. I'm going to keep reading these comments. Matt says it's interesting how some BMX riders just don't care about sponsors. I think because they don't want to be obligated to a company to push their products, kind of like Brad or Spencer. Yeah, I have a friend who doesn't like kink. He doesn't know why. He just doesn't like it, and I think it's because there's a lot of like personalities associated with different brands. So, for example, the OSS and Cult kind of collaboration type brand, that's a whole different personality than say Kink's personality. But he just doesn't like the brand. And I was like, well, what if they were like, hey man, you want to get sponsored? We'll send you free parts. We'll pay you. He's like, I wouldn't do it. I'm like, what? Like he would rather pay for Odyssey and Cult and those parts than get sponsored by a brand that he doesn't really like. And I don't understand it. But then for a lot of people, it's like, if you don't truly identify with whatever you're representing, then you're not really representing it. So it makes sense, I guess. Black just watches the bike roasts with Grayson. Um, Sour TV, what's up, man? I think I've seen you comment on a couple different videos. He says, how much is a custom BMX? There's no complete bike that I like. It really depends, but you probably won't get a decent custom for less than $1,000. If you think about it, a frame is at least 300 just by itself. Cranks are 150, bars are 80, forks are 130. That adds up really quick, and you need everything. Wheels are expensive. So I'd say probably $1,000 for the cheapest. I spent 1,500 on mine, but you could go cheaper than that for sure. Matt would watch some vlogs. Black would watch some vlogs. I would love it if you did GoPro or vlogs. Okay, you guys got me convinced. The only thing is I do not have time to edit them, and I feel really awkward walking around like this. Yo, what's up, guys? Today we're at this. Like, I don't like that. I just feel like a dork. So if someone followed me around and filmed me like Gary Vee, that'd be a little different. Um, Doug, are you ever going to do in-depth about custom full pro bikes, or will stay with complete? I if you mean like, I'm not sure what you mean by that, Jared. Like, if I'm gonna do completes, I'm gonna keep with completes because that's what people really research, and that's where they get the most confusion when you're researching a complete bike. Now, however, I am working on very slowly but very surely BMX upgrades. So doing reviews about frames and talking about, why is this frame is good for street, what the quality's like, yada yada yada, all that stuff. Talking about bars, saying, well, this is the up sweep, so this is how it's going to affect your riding. This is the back sweep. Forks with the offset, talking about that. Cranks with the length and the size, and so I'm gonna ultimately the goal is to have a review for every single part on my website, every single part out there, so that if you were looking at the Cult Crew cranks, you could just look up Cult Crew cranks review, and you'll say, oh, so these are pretty good for street riding. They're pretty strong, but they're a little heavy. Okay. So then you go look at something else. That's the ultimate goal, but it takes me a lot. Like 2022 bike lines are coming out. I think they're going to start here in 3 months. So once that happens, I'm going to have to switch back on everything I'm working on to get caught up with those bike reviews. And I need to get them out before the bikes actually come out so that I can have it ready when you guys start researching the new lines. And it's so much. Could you imagine? There's hundreds of different parts. There's probably only a couple hundred bikes when the lines launch, but hundreds of parts. But I add them. I've got all of Fly's frames. I've got most of Sunday's frames. So slowly but surely, that's what we're working on. Yeah. Somebody said Aaron says Instagram is like a magazine, and that's a really good way to look at it. And I've never looked at it that way. But it is, huh? You see the pictures, you see the ads, just like a magazine, but you can't really do much about it. That's interesting. That's really good. Slovakia. You can speak French, Irish, Polish, English, and Slovakia. Rado, that's actually insane. Good deal, dude. I just saw a video about these white guys going to downtown places in Chinatown, I think. So they're not in actual China, but then speaking perfect Chinese, and people are just like, whoa, that's crazy. I wish I knew Chinese. Jared says, if you have a lot of subs on your YouTube and got a lot of money coming in, you got stuff to play with. Yeah, I've been making $2 a day off YouTube, not much at all, but I could only imagine Mr. Beast, right? This guy has millions and millions and millions of subs. Like, he's probably making 2 million a day. I don't know. Instead of me making $2 a day, he's making 2 million a day. Could you guys imagine that? You're like, oh, cool. YouTube just sent me a check for $25 million. Awesome. What am I going to go buy today? Yeah, that'd be super fun. Devin says, I got a question. What do you think of Anthony Panza? Devin, I'm not too sure about him. I haven't watched enough of his videos to really tell. I know. Oh, I forgot to pin it. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, so I haven't really researched him enough to form an opinion, but first opinions, I get really cocky vibes from him. It could be the New York thing. It could just be he's a cocky person, or he knows what he's worth. He's really good on a bike, very talented, and that's about it. I don't know. I haven't watched enough to know. But I always tell this story whenever Panza comes up. So I was at work one time, and this girl I work with was like, "Hey, you ride bikes, huh?" I said, "Yeah, sometimes." And she's like, "I went to school with a guy that makes YouTube videos now. He used to ride bikes, or he rides bikes." And I said, "Oh, what's his name?" She's like, "You probably haven't heard of him." And I'm like, "If he's like pretty popular, I bet I have." And she's like, "Oh, it's Anthony Panza." And I was like, "Shut up." So I always tell that story because then I said, "Hannah, he's like the most popular YouTube bike rider right now, or one of the most." And so she FaceTimed him. She went to high school with him in New York, so she FaceTimed him at work. And I was like, "Yo, what's up?" It was really, really awkward, but really funny. So I don't know. He seems okay, I guess. Caden says, "Do you have to buy every aftermarket part you review?" No, Caden. This is interesting to me because I don't buy any of the parts I review, and it sucks because I really wish I could have the actual parts to see how they react. But the only way I learn those things is from you guys telling me about it, telling me what happened, how it actually holds up. So ultimately, the ultimate goal would be to partner with companies. So Colt say, "Hey, I want to do these reviews. Can you send me the products?" And do it that way. But then I don't want to get in this situation where I feel like I owe it to them to give them a good review. The way I do my reviews is just based off my knowledge of specs and and different quality parts. So it's really easy to look at a high tensile steel bike that says some chromoly and then look at the specs and say, well, it says some chromoly, but it's only a chromoly top tube. That doesn't do anything. And then call them out on that without actually riding the bike. And by doing it this way, yes, I don't actually have the bike, but it still gives you guys really good information because you know what's good about the bike, what's bad about the bike, and then I can tell you who it's actually for with like almost pinpoint accuracy. So yeah, no, if I do all the parts, I would like to be able to buy like pedals, right? I could buy 10 or 20 different pedals and then review them. But there's no way I could do that with frames. That's like 30 grand to review a couple frames. And like I told you, I make $2 a day on YouTube. So that's not enough. Bendigas Toppler, Bendigs says the vlogging would be cool. Awesome, man. I'm gonna work on that soon. Not yet though. Okay, Kids God said, "Is the Sunday forecaster good?" This is interesting because it always comes up to me, or it always comes up, and in my opinion, I think it's overpriced. But a lot of people buy it, and a lot of people really like it. The best thing about it is that there's a lot of different options. So there's the Aaron Ross version, which is a little different than the Brock Rayford version, which is a little different than the Alex Simon version, which is a little different than the Brett Silva version. But overall, they're not full chromoly. So if you're looking at the forecaster, either just step it up to the Sunday X or look at something like a Kink or a Cult Devotion or something like that. Because the price, I'm trying to look real quick, the price is almost $500. So for another $40 or $20, depending on which version of the X you get a little bit better of a bike. The X doesn't have double wall rims, which I stress get double wall rims. But I don't know. I don't understand why the Forecaster is so much. It only has a little bit of aftermarket parts. It's not full chromoly. It's mostly chromoly, but still, like chromoly down tube and dropouts doesn't do you any good. So it's an okay bike, but for real, for the price, I think it's overpriced. My opinion. Don't get mad at me Sunday. I'm sorry. I'm just speaking facts. Isaac says, Doug, have you watched the new Paradise part from Godwin and Pragenberg and the new Out of Line part? No, Isaac, I have not. But if you send them to me, I will probably take a look. It's funny. I've almost never. Oh, he says if not. Oh, I gotta pin it. He says if not, watch them. Yeah, no, I almost never watch BMX videos unless it's someone that I fangirl over. Like when Harry Main was doing a lot of BMX, I loved Harry Main. So back to that Woodward topic. Harry Main was at camp the first time I stayed at camp, so I got to meet him, and he was my idol. So it was amazing. But yeah, other than that, I really don't watch BMX videos, and I know it's bad because I should, but I just have like I'd rather be riding than just watching them, if that makes any sense. Sometimes there's really good videos out there though, but my brain doesn't work in a way that I can. By the end of the video, I've forgotten what happened in the first half. I think I have short-term memory loss or something, but like that's a for real thing for me. I have no idea. Somebody I saw said bar spin tips, and I need to find it because I have my bike here. I'm ready to show you some bar spin tips. But Black 187's going to eat his pizza. See you later, man. Anyway, well, I don't know who asked for bar spin tips, but here's the bike. The biggest thing, guys, is to sign up for. But no, I'm just kidding. Bar spin tips. The number one biggest thing is pinch your seat. So you're gonna these are your feet. Okay, your feet are on the pedals, and you're gonna pinch your knees together like that. These are your knees. You're gonna pinch them together when you go to throw the bars. So pinch them together, and what this does is this keeps the bike from dipping. So the bike likes to do this when you bar spin. When you pinch it, it can't do that anymore. Now, the other thing is your legs are going to be back like this, but your chest is going to be over top of the bars. So your legs are back like this so the bars don't hit your legs, but your chest is over it to keep your bike level. A lot of people will bar and stay back like this with their chest back, and it sends them like this. And yes, you can bar spin like that, but you won't land. You're going to loop out. Your bike's going to get away from you, whatever. So legs back, chest up. And then the only other thing really is when you're sitting at the park, just talking or just standing there, just pinch your legs and just spin the bars so that you can just get used to that. Like you should be able to do it with your eyes closed, standing on a tightrope. You should be able to do it anywhere. And just know when you throw those bars that it's going to hit your hand, you're going to catch, and you're going to be solid. Rado sent the link, guys. Let's check out Rado's Bethly video. I'm going to watch this real quick. We're at an hour 13, so then I'm going to jump over to a couple of the questions I need to answer. And then Rado, the link didn't work. Send me a better link. Rado, you let me down. All right. So one of the topics that I wanted to cover was bike companies. So I asked you guys in the chat or in the channel a poll about which shop you guys buy from, and I'm going to pull this up right now to look at it. But I want to talk about what happened with Dan's Comp, kind of, and then if they're going to be able to kind of establish their dominance and get back that they had so much market share. Dan's Comp was so popular, and then they hold on. I'm just going to go pull up where I asked the question. Okay, so 78% of people said they buy from Source. Only 3% said Albies, 3% said Empire, 8% said Dan's Comp, 8% said Harvester. I've never heard of Harvester, but it's one, I think it's Canadian, and I see it pop up a lot. Blake says he buys from The Secret. That kid named CJ buys from The Secret. Lucas buys from Harvester because he's in Canada. Aiden buys from The Secret. I've never heard of The Secret. Are they even in the USA? Weird. Their thing is BMX bikes, BMX parts, BMX clothing, BMX accessories. No scooters. That's funny. Oh, they're in California. Okay, good. I'm gonna have to check that out. So anyway, the biggest one, 78% was Source BMX. Source BMX is a huge bike shop in the UK. They have Battle of the Hastings every year. It's a huge contest for riders, and Source is one of the best marketing wise. I think Source is one of the best companies. They've done really good. So back in the day, Dance Comp in the USA was the biggest thing. And what happened with Dance Comp was that they were absolutely great until they got bought out. So there was a big issue that started happening where people would order parts and then they would get an email that said, hey, your part's on back order, so we don't have it yet, but as soon as we do, we'll send it out. 4 months later, they still haven't got their part. I remember when this was happening because I was in a bunch of different Facebook groups and people were going crazy about it. So what Dan's tried to do, I think they kind of ran out of money. So they just started trying to drop ship where they didn't actually have the parts in stock, and then they couldn't get the parts in stock that people had already paid for. And they got bought out by A-Main Cycles, I think is what it's called. And this is kind of recent. In the last year or two, they got bought out. So they got a new owner. And now this A-Main Cycles is huge. It's not a family-owned store in Indiana anymore. They have everything's in California. So while Dan's Comp was struggling and making people mad, Source started selling more in the USA. Source has a warehouse over here. So when you buy from Source, you're not buying from the UK, you're buying from the warehouse here in the USA. There's a handful of mix-ups that happen because the guys that run the warehouse, I don't think are Source employees. Like, it's an outsourced warehouse for shipping and all this nonsense. But one problem you have in the USA with Source is customer service is on an 8-hour time difference. So when you call Source about your order problem, you're trying to talk to someone in the UK who's probably asleep. And so that's a big deal. And then if you do get something from the UK, shipping takes a while and it's probably expensive. But so Dan's was struggling. Source came over, said, cool, like we will take all these customers, and Source is huge. Source has done really good. So what I wanted to talk about, so it's moving my chair forward, is whether or not Dan's Comp is coming back. And the reason I talk about this is someone who got a recommendation from me and watches a lot of my content CC'd me in an email chain that he'd sent out to Kink and to Dan's Comp. He bought a Kink Williams bike, and the bike had the free coaster that just started making grinding noises. So he reached out to Dan's and reached out to Kink and said, hey, what's going on? They said, well, we don't really know. Take it to your bike shop. He just bought a new free coaster. He bought a replacement. He didn't want to mess with that. So he bought a new replacement, put it on. A month later, that had the same issue. So he's obviously, rightfully, very upset, sent these emails, and Dan's Comp said, well, you need to check with Kink because this is a manufacturer problem. Kink said, well, since you bought this from Dan's Comp, you need to do it through their warranty. So they're kind of just pointing their fingers back and forth. And I'm reading through this thread and I'm just like, what is going on? This is awful customer service. This is crazy. So they go back and forth. They said, well, take your bike to this. He's in Japan. Take your bike to this Japanese bike shop. They're really good. And then he said, that's all out of the way. I don't want to do that. And anyway, long story short, Dan's Comp, A-Main, okay, the parent company customer service specialist said, look, we're just going to send you this shadow wheel replacement for free. Don't send us back any of the other stuff. Just put this wheel on, ride your bike, and like carry on. And then I read that. This was yesterday, and I thought, okay, that's impressive because Kink's trying to blame Dan's Comp, and then the lower employee is just trying to point it back to Kink. And then this customer service guy said, look, here's a wheel. Just get back on your bike. So after seeing that, now I'm going to talk about a contrary experience that my friend had with Source. He bought a free coaster. They sent him the wrong free coaster. He said, I don't want this free coaster. This is the wrong free coaster. They said, okay, just send it back to us. But you have to pay for shipping. And then once we have it back, we'll send the right one. So they wanted him, and it had to go back to, I think, the warehouse. So they wanted him to send it back before he even had the new one. He spent probably 2 weeks messing around with this just to get it sent back to get the right one, and something that was their mistake that they didn't even take care of. Where this Dance Comp situation, Dance Comp didn't want the wheel that he bought back. They refunded that wheel, said keep it, don't worry about sending it to us. Here's another wheel, and that's really good customer service. And the moral of the story is, I think, prediction, if Dance Comp keeps that up, and I know they're working on a lot of big things with this new ownership, I think if Dance Comp keeps it up in the next year or so, they're going to take back their dominance from Source, and Source is going to have to stick back to selling only in the UK. Speaking of bike shops, I just posted a link to shop.dougsterbob.com, which is a huge project for me that I was working on. Can you even click it? Hold on. It's nothing yet, but very soon, one day, not very soon, one day I will be selling bikes on there, and then you guys can buy some bikes from Dougster Bob. But for now, it just has some merch and some ebooks and stuff like that. But yeah, check it out. I spent a couple months working on it. I think it looks really clean and looks really good. The user experience on there is very good. So check it out and let me know what you think. That's the reason I'm showing you guys. Give me some feedback on it. Pierce said he has to go to school. Oh no. Now I'm just reading some of these comments. Gene says, yo, Dougster Bob, what's up, dude? Sorry I missed the last live stream. What's up, Gene? You are a little late on this one, but we're still going. I'm still talking. The last live stream, my mouth went numb from talking so much. It's crazy. But there's something I had to look at here. Well, I can't remember what I was going to say. Okay. So if there's any last questions, guys, throw them in the chat. Oh, Bill, that's what it was. Sorry, Bill. Yes, I remember now. Bill, thoughts on the We the People versus. Bill, the versus is my favorite bike for park. So I have this Dougster Bob tracker that I score bikes on based on their quality in street and park and dirt, overall quality and how it looks. And then it gets an overall Dougster Bob score about, essentially it's how good the bike is overall. So the Versus got a 120 out of 200. And this is up there with like the We the People Envy got a 129, which is $1,000 bike. The Cult Devotion only got a 108 out of 200. So overall, the Versus is a really, really good bike. But in the park section, it got a 100%. So it has those gyro tabs. It has really, really responsive park geometry. The tires are perfect for park. The quality's there. It comes with pegs, so it got 50% in the street section. The Versus is a really good bike. The only deal is it's very expensive. It's like $700, I think. So if you have the money for it and you plan to be a park rider and you plan to ride at a high level eventually, go with the Versus for sure. It's the lower quality We the People bikes I don't end up recommending in the videos just because I feel like they're overpriced. The Versus, the Envy, the Battleship, the Revolver, all those high-end bikes though, I really do recommend because the quality there is just immaculate. So yeah, there you go. Sorry about that, Bill. I missed your question. I'm sorry. Stanek, what's up, Bob? I was watching and thinking you thought on 26-inch BMX. Oh, yeah. Guys, Stanek was a guy, somebody asked me about 26-inch BMX bikes or 22-inch, and I was like, you can't really do tricks on it. Then this guy sent me a video of him doing a lot of different tricks on these bigger bikes. So he definitely changed my mind there. I think it's very possible to do some tricks on bigger bikes. It's just got to be harder. Gene says, do you have any tips when riding a half pipe? I also need help with like catwalking. I am not sure what catwalking is, Gene. But riding a half pipe is easier once you know how to pump. So one thing I always recommend to people is take your chain off and ride around the skate park. No pedaling. The only way to get speed is from pumping and from using your body weight and throwing it around in different directions that take advantage of the skate park so that you can get more speed. Once you figure that out, riding anything is going to be so much easier, especially a half pipe. Clue FN says, what are the best bars and stem in your opinion? I'm going to say the Cult 1-inch diameter stem with I think they're Dakota Roach 1-inch diameter bars. I think this is going to be the new normal for BMX moving forward because every single person who rides a bike is progressing more than the person 10 years before them. So we're going to come to the point where everyone is riding like Sean Burns, doing huge drops, and bikes are going to have to change to adapt to that. So bikes are going to have to be really strong with 1-inch clamping diameter so that the bars don't move all the time. And Colt's moving in that direction. So that's my favorite bar stem combo, Clue FN. Isaac said, can you please do another reaction live? Yeah, Isaac, I will do it eventually. It probably won't be until I'm done with bike school in the next couple months. Once we launch that, I will have a lot more time to do those kind of fun things. I do have a lot of fun with them. I need to figure out how I can do it without their music because I get flagged for copyright, even if I don't monetize it. So I don't want to get banned on YouTube, so I have to be careful with that. Houston says, can we rock a 22 at the skate park? I've never seen that one before. I've seen it a couple of times. And yeah, if that's what feels comfortable for you, go for it. I've seen a handful of people do it, and it works out. I tried to ride one, and I couldn't really do much on it, but I wasn't very used to it, so that's kind of hard. You know, it's kind of hard getting on a bike that you're not used to. Pierce says, what got you started on YouTube, and would you do it again? Pierce, it's funny, if you go way, I have all my old videos. I think I started YouTube in 2013 when I was very young. I don't know, 10, 12. Um, I have really old videos on there still when I was 10 years ago when I was really young trying to ride bikes. So it's funny I kept it all on there. But I just created it because I just wanted to post my videos somewhere and show my talent. Even though I wasn't very good, I thought I was pretty good. So that's why I started it, and then I quit. Spent a lot of time with Instagram just posting stuff there and not doing too much with YouTube. And then what got me back into it was just to build an additional way from my website to reach more people. Because as I spent the last couple of years building dougsterbob.com, I was like, this is helping a lot of people. Like, so many people email me and they're like, oh, this review made me decide. This helped me out so much, blah, blah, blah. And it's a lot of older people that end up on the website. So I figured if I did videos, I'd get a younger audience, and that's kind of what has been happening. So it's really cool to just use this to reach more people. Zach says a problem with the oversized clamp diameter is the bars are made thinner in the clamp area and tend to crack at the clamp. Zach, that's a really good thing to point out. And I think that's just with anything new that comes out, there's always little things that need to be tweaked and adjusted. So I'm sure as time goes, they'll compensate for that and figure out a way to make it lighter with extra thickness. But Matt says the Sunday freeze. Yeah, I still have a Sunday freeze on my old bike. The thing's like 4 years old and it's still going strong. Matt, what country are you from? Pierce is gonna go watch the older video. Pierce, honestly, it's super embarrassing, but I went through too when I was rebranding this to be Dougster Bob instead of for me. I looked at those. I was like, God, I want to delete them so bad. But in the same sense, I think it's really cool for you guys to be able to look at that and be like, wow, he was this good 10 years ago, and now like I kept riding. Now look at where I'm at. So I kept it for you guys to actually be able to look at that and see that BMX is really hard, but you can still progress if you keep going at it. A lot of people give up right before there's something that unlocks in you. I don't know what it is, but once you learn, like you build up this momentum, and then tricks are so much easier to land. I think it's you build up confidence, you build up so many different things, and it's like your brain unlocks and you just start progressing. But a lot of people quit before they get to that point, and it's really sad. But everyone would be pro if no one quit. So you can't have that either. But I really hope you all stick with it and keep progressing. Let me help you with BMX. So all right, I'm gonna pop over to these other questions real quick, guys. Just because what I do is I answer these questions and then I reply to the person's question and I say, yo, I answered your question here. That way they're kind of forced to watch the live and be like, wow, that live is cool. I'm going to go watch the next live. I don't know if it works or not, but we're going to find out. Anyway, so these are some of the questions. Aiden said, any tips on foot plants? I already answered that one. Shadow Rider 88 said, I don't understand why you would be limited to tricks per bike. This is a really good question. I'm glad I'm talking about it because on my recommendations, I talk about how this bike is good for 180s, tire taps, blah, 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 but not good for this. So what he's talking about is that on those recommendations, I say whether it's good for this trick or not. And he says, I don't understand why that matters. And the reason that I do that is because so on a beginner level bike, I list that it's not good for mid-level tricks. So if you have a bike with single wall rims, it's not good for tail ups. It's not good for 360s because those rims are going to bend as you learn those tricks. And not as you do those tricks, but as you learn them. Because when you're learning them, you're not going to get a full 360 around. You're gonna land at 270, and that's a lot of pressure going on the wheels. When you're learning tail whips, you're not going to catch it under you. You're going to spin it. Your back wheel is going to slam on the ground, and it's going to bend your wheel. So that's kind of why I go that route. Now, a lot of the mid to high level bikes, there's no trick restrictions for it. But bikes that come with pegs are obviously going to be better for street than bikes that don't come with pegs. And that's why I do that, just so you guys have like an idea. You know, if you're looking at a bike and all you want to do is learn tail whips, then you're going to see a bike that says not good for tail whips, and you're going to say, oh, I'll get something else. And it's just an extra thing I added to make sure that I really give you guys the best content I can on DougsterBob.com. Hector says, I'm around 5'6". What should I ride? Hector, I'm going to say Google BMX size guide, Dougster Bob, or just BMX size guide and click my Dougster Bob one. It's really simple, man. You go to this size guide that I made, and then you click your height. So would you say 5'6"? Yeah, 5'6". So then click 5'6" to 5'9". And it's going to say you need a 20-inch bike with a 20.5 to a 21-inch top tube. Getting a 20.5 is going to make the bike feel easier to maneuver, and it'll be very responsive. Getting a 20.75 will give you the bike that balances stability with responsiveness. Getting a 21-inch bike will give you a bike that feels good when going high and fast. A bigger size is best for flowy park. So the size guide is super easy. And go check that out, Hector. But I mean, I guess the moral of the story, 20.75 is, or 20.5 would be the best choice for you. All right, Lucas said, what do you think about the Fly Fuego 7 frame? We already talked about that earlier in the live. It's Dabbington says, though it's a single wall rim, the salt stock parts don't mess around. After 13 months of riding the CRS Free Coaster 2020, the rims and almost everything else has not failed me and are as strong as ever. The reason I included this is because I want you guys to be aware that, you know, when I talk not bad, but neutral against salt parts, saying, yeah, they're aftermarket, but they're not great. Yeah, they're single wall, so don't go with it. This guy's giving a testimonial that, hey, despite that, they're still pretty good parts. And so that's something you guys can consider when buying those We the People bikes or those kink bikes that come with salt. I think salt comes on. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, keep that in mind. Dabbington, appreciate the feedback. 13 months of riding. That's awesome. Now, hopefully, that's right at a year, and that's when I say things start to break. So I hope I didn't jinx you. I just knocked on wood for you, but that's usually the threshold there. So we'll see. We'll see. Don't click on my username said, is the ZX sealed free coaster hub better than the Odyssey Clutch V2 free coaster hub? So this goes back to what I was talking about on the Kink Williams bike and the customer service deal with Dan's Comp and Kink. That's the free coaster that was on this bike. Now, this guy that bought it, he went through 2 in 2 months. So they only lasted a month for him. Now, the Clutch is a little cheaper version of a free coaster, but it's tried and true. It's made by Odyssey, so Odyssey makes the best parts, and I'd go with the Clutch just because it's better. Okay, I'm gonna answer that. That's it. That's all I got, guys. Is there any last minute questions? Favorite foods, favorite colors, anything like that? I'm reading through these comments real quick. Oh, Jeff says, did you know it was Dave Mirra's 5-year anniversary yesterday? Yeah, I saw some posts about that. A lot of my friends did the gold pedals. I don't have any gold spray paint, but that's a super sad deal. And like, you know, that's a sad deal for real. It's BMX is such a close, tight-knit community. And anytime something like that happens or there's a tragedy with us, like we all feel personally affected. And despite, you know, I think he lived a very good life and did absolutely amazing things and inspired as many people as possible. So I've been like reading a lot of stoicism in the last couple months, and a big thing with that is it's not how long you live, but how good you live. And what you measure it by is how much of an impact you're able to have on other people. So with those being the determining factors there, I think Dave did great. You know, wish he was here for BMX a lot longer, but the time we did have him was very impactful and very beneficial for the BMX community and a lot more. But super, super sad deal. Can't believe it's been 5 years already, though. That's insane. I remember hearing about it and was like, wow. So yeah, I think that's a good note to end this one on, guys. Take care, be safe. Mental health is not a joke. If you guys need anything from anybody, just reach out. We all have dark times, and everyone's here for each other. So have a good night, guys. Ride some bikes.